All right, so let's look at the first example where we need to count the occurrence of text. So this is our example. And right inside each of these cells, I have inserted the content as drop down. So we'll be able to see how our results change as we change the entries. All right, so we'll be looking at the following questions. First, we want to find out how many students took milk on a Monday, talking about this column. Then we'll look at how many times did each student take tea in the week. So we look across like this. For each of them, how many times? Like James, we should see 1, 2, okay, tea. Well, he didn't take tea. James didn't take tea this week. So we'll see the result, and then we'll see what happens when we change any of these entries to tea. And then question number 3, how many students took tea plus bread between Monday and Tuesday? So we'll look at Monday, who took tea on Monday and at the same time took bread on Tuesday. So we'll be looking at how many of them. And then finally, we'll look at how many students took sugar plus tea plus bread on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, respectively. So what we'll be looking at for in this number 4 is how many took sugar on Monday and took tea on Wednesday and took bread on Friday. Then we'll be able to see the result when we change the data. All right, so for us to start, I would like to, let's hide this. Let's hide this our question away, and we can always look at it and then answer the question. So how many students took tea on Monday? So it will be easy for us to come over here. This is Monday. All we need to do is count how many times milk occurs on Monday. So all we need to do is to come here and count if. So right now we are looking at only one condition, and that condition is the occurrence of milk on this on Monday here, this column. So I'm going to activate this. This is my range, and because we are not going to drag, we are just going to we are only looking for one entry here, and we do not intend to duplicate this formula or this function elsewhere. So I'm going to click only this. We are interested in milk. I'm going to close it. When I enter, so it means only 2 students took milk. And where are they? This is 1 here. Let me highlight that with yellow. That is 1, milk, and 2. So these are the 2. Now what happens if we change Joe to milk? The count changes to 3. If Uche also took milk, it changes to 4. So let me undo. This is counting text with only one condition. Now let's look at the second question. How many times did each student take tea in the week? So now we are looking across. Okay, so let me leave this. We are looking across. So we are going to count how many times, for instance, James, over this Monday to Friday, how many times did he take tea. So again, I need to come and count here. Count if my range, of course, is from Monday here to Friday for James. And what is my interest? My interest again is tea. Now, right now, I am not interested, or I do not want to go and click a cell that has my criterion that I'm looking for. I'm looking for tea. I could just go anywhere and choose tea, but I don't want to make reference to a cell containing tea. I want to type the tea right inside this function. And for me to type and not making a reference to a cell, I'm going to put them in double quotes. So since I'm looking for T, I'm going to open my double quotes and I'm going to write T, and I'll close the double quotes, then close my bracket. So this that I have written here is equivalent to making reference to a cell where we have written what we are looking for. I'm sure we'll still have a lot to talk about this as the course progresses. So when I enter, here I have 0. Now, note what has happened. This is a table, an official table, Excel official table. And what just happened are part of the advantages or benefits of working with a table. You will see that I didn't write anything here. I simply came to type my formula here. Two things happened simultaneously. First, this changed to Saturday, continuing in my series. Next thing that happened was I typed a formula here and magically it replicated in the other cells below. So by the time we'll be doing analysis, when we are introducing tables, pivot tables, then we'll be able to tell you some of the advantages of working with a table. So if I click here, you see over here, this shows that we are working on a table officially recognized by Excel. All right, so you already see we're looking for T, okay? So here, we don't have any T here. We have 0 here because James did not take T throughout the week. Now, assuming we change this to T, it changes to 1. Wherever we have, so we have 4 here, assuming we say, oh, he didn't take tea, he only took bread on Thursday. So I have this. So again, we have seen how to use count to count the occurrences of text values. So now let's look at the third question. How many students took tea plus bread on Monday and Tuesday? So here we're actually supposed to put, so let me correct this. This is on Monday and Tuesday. So we are going to look on Monday who took tea, and then on Tuesday who took bread. So when you are using your conditional count, that's a logic function of count, and if you are using multiple criteria, those criteria that you are defining must be met in a row or in a column. So in this case now, we are going to be looking at Monday and Tuesday. So we are looking at Monday, who took tea on Monday, and Tuesday took bread. So we are going to be asking Excel, look across these rows under this Monday column. Whoever that takes tea, pick that student, and then go to Tuesday column. If that same person who took tea also took bread, that same person who took tea on Monday also took tea or took bread on Tuesday, who took bread on Tuesday, count it as 1. So the condition is Monday must be tea for that person and bread for Tuesday. Now, for this case now, let's I'm going to avoid causing this to continue, so I'm going to discontinue this table. And so what I'm going to put here is I'm going to put t plus bread. So that's the condition we are going to test for now. And so, like I say, it's here we are going to use the multiple option or version of the COUNTIF. So I'm going to type COUNTIF. So I'm going to choose the if with an S. So I am going to define the criteria for the first, the criteria range for the first criterion. Remember, the first criterion is T and on a Monday. So the range that I'm going to look for T is here on Monday. And what am I going to look for? Again, I'm going to look for T and I'm going to type it T. Now I have typed T in small letter to also let us know that here it's not case sensitive. It could be capital T all through, it can be small t all through, or it can be proper T. So this is the first criterion. Then let's look at the second one. We are looking on a Tuesday. And so here is my range for the second criterion. And what am I looking for? I'm looking for bread. Again, I can put this in quotes, bread. So I am done. I have defined the two criteria ranges, and I've also imputed the individual criterion for each of those ranges. Now I am done. I close. All right, so looking at this, we have 0. What this 0 means is there is none of the students here that had tea and bread, respectively, for Monday and Tuesday. True, here we have tea here, but we didn't have bread here. We had tea here, but none bread here. Now let's see what happens if we begin to change these entries here. So let's say, for example, this James who took milk here and took bread on Tuesday. What happens if we change this milk to tea? It meets our criteria. This criteria is this one, it must be tea, Tuesday must be bread. So we have 1. Now let's go over here again where we have bread and bread here for Bill. If we change this first bread to tea, count 2, which means there are 2 students. So let me use a different color to highlight them. So this and this, they had tea and bread. Now if I come over here and I change a day to bread, sorry, I had to undo this and change the bread for Tuesday, change it to bread, it counts 3. So this way we're able to identify entries that meet specific criteria. Now let's look at the number 4. Well, number 4, I'm going to leave that for your practice. So the only hint I can give here is you have Monday, it must have sugar. Wednesday must have tea. Friday must have bread before you count in the answers. All right, so with this, we go to counting occurrences of numbers. So on the next sheet is COUNTIFs_numbers. So again, we have our task. Here we have a set of countries, 10 of them, and they recorded their vaccination for malaria and COVID-19. So these are the different values for each of these countries, their vaccinations. And we are interested in knowing what is happening. For instance, number one, we want to find out how many countries recorded less than 500 vaccinations for malaria. So what it means is we are going to tell Excel, look on this column, anyone whose vaccination is less than 500, count. So if we were to look at this and do it manually, we see this is number one. So Cameroon is 1. This is Cameroon is 1. Lesotho is 2. Nigeria is 3. Ethiopia 4. Zambia 5. Namibia 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we should have 6 here if we are going to look for the countries that recorded less than 500 for malaria. So let's say less than 500 for malaria. Now, again, we input our COUNTIF. Now, the condition we are looking at is just one, and that condition is less than 500. So we are going to use the COUNTIF without the S. So our range is this, and the criterion for this is less than 500. Now, because we are going to type less than 500, we are going to put them in double quotes, less than 500. We close and then close our bracket, then I enter. It has given us 6. So there are 6 countries who recorded vaccination for malaria less than 500. Now I'm going to look at another way of doing this. So if I say I'm going to COUNTIF and my range is this, and then my criteria is this, less than 500, I close. Again, I have 6. So here, I did not put the less than 500 in quotes because I decided to make a reference to a cell. So making a reference to cell, I have typed what Excel recognizes as less than 500 in a cell, and then I'm making a reference to that cell. So it's different from here. I didn't make any reference to any cell, but I typed it directly into the formula or the function, as the case may be, and then I'm putting that criterion in double quotes because I typed it. All right, so I'll delete this now, and then let's look at question number 2. How many countries recorded more than 1,500 vaccinations for COVID-19? 1,350 vaccinations for COVID-19 is the same thing here. All we need to do is to change our quotes to our quotes, which is less than 500. We just change it to greater than 1350. Now, at this point, I would like to let us know that if you want this figure 1,350 or 500 to be included in your range, you must put equal sign also. So let me buttress that with this example now. So if I put less or equal to 500, and here I put 500. Here, okay, because I typed this directly, so I'm going to put less or equal to 500, and the figure is going to increase because this for Ghana changed from what it was previously. Again, that was 700 and something. Let me see, 704. So the same way, if I was to make reference to the cell here now, so I'm going to put count if, this is my range, and then what is the criterion? I'll simply click here because I decided to make reference to a cell. And I hit enter. It has taken this into my consideration, into my criterion. So note that if you didn't put equal sign, even though it is 500, it will skip it. So if you want to include 500 or the number that you are making reference to, you want to include it. If you want it to be included in the range, you must put equal sign. All right, so with this, let's look. Number 2 is straightforward, so I'll leave that for you to practice on. So now let's look at number 3. How many countries recorded more than 500 vaccinations for both malaria and COVID-19? So note that this is not included in our range. We say recorded more than. So if we had asked how many countries recorded 500 vaccinations and above, then 500 will be included. But right now, in this question, the way it is framed, 500 value will not be included in the range. All right, so I guess this is also very simple, taking a cue from what we did previously. It's the multiple form of the if, count if, that's with an S, because we have more than one criterion. We are looking at malaria, greater than 500. Then the second one, COVID-19 vaccination, greater than 500. And then you get your answer. All right, so in the next video, we will talk about the different ways of making your absolute referencing. Column absolute referencing and row absolute referencing. So see you in the next video.